We start in another 10 minutes or by
3:10,
3:10
3:10. We
sharp?
just have to keep on mentioning about that. We'll be joining shortly. We'll be starting off shortly. We'll just wait for some 10 minutes more.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Aditya, sir,
You give a signal
yeah,
when
yeah,
to
I'll
start. We
surely.
can start.
Aditya, sir, can you put up the card on up, please? Thank you.
Sir, we are in the webinar. Hello. Yes, yes, 3 to 5. Already people have entered. You also entered, please. It is in Google Meets. Chef Joy,
I'm
again you're
listening.
on
Yeah,
mute, so
yeah.
yes, I just wanted to ask you. Yes. So I saw your video of Govind Etiraj.
Right.
From there to Reliance, I've seen a big change in your physique. Basically, you have gone slim and trim from that video to now. So what has made you keep yourself fit?
No,
Just one question.
that's actually valid question. I lost close to 10 to 12 kilos, but
Yeah.
mostly due to apart from getting the right time to work out a little bit, they mostly to do with timely meals. Now I ensure that I finish my breakfast by 8:39 and before I reach office, and then there is no eating in between. No, it's just maybe a cup of tea or something. Then lunch at sharp 1:30, and then you finish office at 5:36 in the evening. You come and have a small bite and an early dinner by 8:39. So I think this routine has done wonders and miracle, and things have worked on its own. So uh, I only wish that I can continue this, because what happens when you are in the kitchen environment, everything there is also always constant tasting going on. Whichever kitchen you walk into, there is something or the other cooking, and you do this binge eating, one piece by piece, and you take these morsels. And there's to be days when actually when you reach home and dinner time, you were never hungry. So you to probably settle for maybe a toast or a scrambled egg or maybe a cereal or milk. That's all used to be dinner. So I think this routine cuisine of eating habits, I think, has made all the difference.
Okay.
And surprisingly, I've actually started loving vegetarian food.
Oh, that's great.
So,
That's great.
so,
So from
so
the
it's
Betki Paturi, so you don't miss your Betki Paturi, sir, or
no,
fish?
don't forget that. When I actually go for vendor audits or vendor surveys now, obviously uh, steaks being a very weakness for a European background chef. So we always indulge into it whenever we. But after the 1 or 2 days when you had your binge, after that, you just you're okay with vegetarian food also. But here also, whenever we are ordering food at home or over the weekends or when you're cooking food at home, I am okay with a vegetarian option, to settle with, rather than um, having meat sweets all the time.
What about exercises, sir? Any tips you want to give the audience who are present now? What do you do to keep yourself fit? So regular eating timings is one of your mantras to stay slim. Do you keep yourself fit, sir?
No, I think stretching. I at times bull work. I have a bull worker for long. So I will work at times and just free hand stretching. The idea is to warm up for 15-20 minutes. It could be just walking, or it could be just uh, I don't practice skipping because I'm not good at it, but just probably standing at one position and uh, do a brisk walking. Just to once you warm up, now after that, I think this stretching makes a lot of difference.
Actually, most of the chefs suffer from varicose veins, and I also have been suffering. That is why I started with yoga. I started with yoga 4 years back, and it has really improved my stretchability, as you said, the stretching. So
Yeah, yeah.
previously, I used to not stretch. I could not sit in the Padmasana. I could not sit in the Vajrasan. But today, slowly, I have mastered Vajrasan as
No,
well
but
as
then,
Sirsasana. Yes.
but then, but then when you do a savasana, the first when you do that, then you start raising your legs up, slowly, gradually, and slowly your intensity of the stretching increases. But if you actually warm up your body and then start doing it, you are you feel more relaxed. So yeah, definitely. What you're doing is wonderful. And in fact, when I was an outlet chef, I had actually signs of varicose veins. So the best thing to do is actually lift your legs up
Okay.
when you're lying down. So we used to do that, and then get the till the time you feel that your legs are actually devoid of the blood circulation. You start getting the tingling feeling and the pain, and then you get it down. So you see the blood actually rushing down. Another way of doing is squatting down, and then when you're squatting down, you ensure that your calves you actually press them out and keep that the calf portion pressed with your thighs. So you sit like that for some time till your actually legs start hurting, and then you lie
Okay.
down straight. So you see that the blood is actually oozing to your legs. So these were very two effective, very exercises when I used to do when I was in Arunachal. We used to take off 30 to 40 kilos of at a stretch time.
Chef, just wanted to keep ourselves engaged till everybody joins in because there is still
No, my
five minutes,
pleasure.
still 5 minutes to go in. Just to keep you informed, there were 250 registrations and mails have been sent to everybody. So, and there are limited entries which are going to, will be limiting the entries. So congratulations, Chef. This is one of our biggest and most hit webinars. I think your name has done the magic of attracting a
Well,
lot
I
of
think there
students.
are already 94 up, I think. Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's already 99 plus now. Let's
Yeah.
see.
Good afternoon, Chef. This is Vijay. Thank you so much once again.
Yes,
Hi,
Vijay,
Vijay,
welcome,
how are you
welcome.
doing?
Good, Chef. Good, Chef. Just the baby is keeping us busy.
But you will actually, you may not like it at times, but these are the days you will miss later on. So
Yes,
make the
yes,
most of
yes.
it.
Yeah. Thank you, Chef.
Thank you, Vijay, once again. Thank you, Chef, and
Thank
thank you,
you.
Vinayak, to be a moderator. Great to have you on board.
Many thanks, sir. Many thanks to all of you.
No, in fact,
It's
we
it's a
couldn't think
privilege
of
to
any.
uh, it's a privilege to like moderate this session with Chef Joy Bhattacharya. I mean,
Yes,
it's actually a privilege.
yes.
No,
It'll be a
it's a
privilege
pleasure.
to have you.
Equally a pleasure. Vinayak, how long have you been with this property at the 4 Points by Sheraton?
Yeah, so Chef, like I am from an events background, and I used to be heading events for Taj Lanson and for St. Regis for last 4 years. I
Right.
moved to Ahmedabad about 18 months back, 19 months back precisely. So this is my first assignment as an independent in charge of the hotel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I actually, I think that was probably a couple of years back when, maybe a year or two, year and a half, when I actually got in touch with uh, the chef and the hotel manager at Four Points, because one
Okay.
of my friends in the FDA wanted to get in touch with them regarding some
Okay.
event that
Okay.
they were doing.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Probably they were trying to entertain someone. The
Okay.
FDA commissioner from Chandigarh had come and he wanted to entertain him. So that's how I think I actually
Okay.
got in touch with me, with the
Okay.
hotel manager and the chef last.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Vinayak, another 3 minutes, we can just take out the platform. You can just introduce yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. You can just run through it before you start off, asking the participants what they are into, and then after 3 minutes, we can start off.
Okay. No problem at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I need to tell everyone to keep their lines muted
Yes,
while the
yes,
webinar
yes,
is
yes.
on?
You
Okay.
are the
Okay.
moderator, so you can take a call in between wherever
Okay.
you find anything is not right. You can take a call,
Okay.
make it a point there.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So, Vinayak, this hotel now is just running for upkeep purpose, or you have a few guests inside?
No, no, we have few guests. So chef, basically, like this hotel which I am working for is in Ahmedabad.
Hmm.
It's a 104 room hotel, and we have about 10 odd rooms at this point of time. So these are basically guests who are stuck, who are on a business continuity plan. These are the
Understood.
people whom we are servicing right now.
Because I was actually hotel manager, the GM of Justa actually. Um, he was in touch with me over WhatsApp. Actually, they are completely closed in Udaipur.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Most of the leisure destinations are totally
Yeah.
shut. Even other, we have another hotel, other Marriott hotel in the city, which belongs to the same ownership, and we are not running it. We are not operating it at this point of time.
I think Marriott is also thinking of actually probably gradually opening the hotels, as per demand. So
Yes,
there's
yes, yes.
no point in operating 3 or 4 hotels in the same city if there is no demand at
Correct.
this point.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Vinayak, I suppose we can take off.
Okay. Good evening, friends, colleagues. I hope I am audible to everyone.
Yes, yes, very much.
Okay. A warm welcome to all of you. Before we start this webinar today, I kindly request all of you to keep your lines muted. Uh, I just sincerely wish that all of us are committed, all of you are committed to stay safe in today's pandemic world, and you're taking good care of yourself and your loved ones. We'll begin this webinar today by welcoming our esteemed guest and esteemed guest Chef Joy Bhattacharya, who's going to. I've got some line disturbance. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'll start this session by just a small brief introduction about myself before I come to Chef Joy Bhattacharya. My name is Vinayak, and I'm the alumnus of Bharati Vidyapit. I happened to pass out from Bharati Vidyapit in 1995. It was the first batch, and over this past 24 years, have worked with Taj Hotels and currently working with Marriott Hotel in Ahmedabad at this point of time. I welcome all of you, and I will introduce Chef Joy Bhattacharya at this point of time. We today have Chef Joy Bhattacharya with us. Joy Bhattacharya has over a 29 years of experience, rich experience in highly reputed hospitality companies. He is an alumnus of IHM Mumbai and started his career with Taj Group of Hotels and has worked extensively with Oberoi Hotels and Resorts. In his career, Chef has worked with many Michelin star chefs across the globe and has participated in more than 30 international food festivals. He has created memorable dining experiences for distinguished dignitaries, state heads, and celebrities. On this list, like there are former U.S. presidents like Mr. Bill Clinton, Mr. Barack Obama, celebrities like Michael Jackson, Richard Gere, and many more. Chef Joy has been the recipient of the most prestigious BW Hotelier Chef of the Year award in the year 2016. It is like Oscars of the hospitality industry. In his last assignment with the Oberoi Hotels and Resorts, he was at the helm of culinary operations at the Trident Nariman Point and the Oberoi Hotel Complex in South Mumbai, where he has spent more than 25 years. He has been instrumental in driving successfully culinary operations in his gastronomic journey at the Oberoi Hotels and Resort. Chef Joy is currently associated with Reliance Industries and leads the culinary brigade as an executive chef for the upcoming Geo World Center in Bandra Kurla complex in Mumbai. So this is about Chef Joy. Let's welcome Chef Joy to this webinar.
Good afternoon. Hello,
Good
am I
afternoon, Chef.
audible?
Yes, yes.
Actually, probably the pin is not on, so that's the reason I could not figure it. Anyways, so good afternoon. It's a wonderful afternoon today, and thank you, Vinayak, for actually introducing me to this platform. I'm sure that the next 1 hour is going to be action-packed, question-packed, with a lot of information flowing back and forth. I would only request and expect that there are a lot of questions that come in. It's my pleasure to answer all of them. It would be my pleasure, and I think it's a wonderful platform. And in today's day and age, when we are going through this uh, challenging pandemic across the world, uh, there are opportunities opening. At the same time, there are also challenges in front of us. But, but then, as human nature is, our memory is very short. I'm sure we'll forget everything as
The days to
of
come.
yesterday, and come out as more successful and individuals of the future.
Thank you, Chef.
So,
Thank you. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
it's a pleasure to be here with all of you, and I think this session will definitely we'll, in fact, I'm sure I'll take back a lot of learnings from this session, and I expect the same for the group who is associated with it after. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll start with the question, Chef. Uh, this is for this is for all our aspirational catering college students who want to make their career in culinary operations. The question is a very direct one. Chef, we request you to suggest a career path for our fresh hotel management graduates in the kitchen department.
So right, I would like to probably when I finished my hotel school in 19, uh, there was only one option that we could actually opt for after we graduated out of hotel school. To either join a hotel or it could be some industrial canteen. I had my batchmates, some of them, who joined L&T, uh, uh, who joined hospital canteens. So either it was hotels or any canteen operation in a large setup. Most of the students actually got their placements in hotel. But as of today, I think there are a lot of more options and opportunities open. I see students digressing into multiple different careers. They are using this 3 years degree as a platform for as their graduation platform, I would say, and then uh, move on to different roles or jobs or professions of their choice. That's one option. Others, there are hardcore hoteliers who want to join the hotel. But apart from hotels, there are many other opportunity zones like Zomato, Swiggy, these companies, or Easy Diner. So there are multiple options now open for students after they graduate out of the school. But if you want to become a hardcore passionate hotelier, if you want to uh, be a hotel manager or a general manager in future or a chef in future, I think there are no shortcut routes to this. You have to start with a hotel or a small restaurant or any other food and beverage establishment where you can actually learn the tricks of the trade with your hard work and dedication. There is no compromise to this. And I would say, whichever place you're working, first 5 years, you do not work for any individual, any organization, on any hotel. The first 5 years is just that you work for yourself. So that's the time you actually hone your skills, and the more you sharpen the blade at this point of time, the sharper you would be and more capable of taking challenges head on in future. So that's I think there is no compromise to it. So if you think that you can be a out of the world wonderful chef by doing this shortcut in the first 5 years to go, I think somewhere or the other you realize that you have missed something very critical and crucial in the past.
Absolutely right. Thank you, Chef. Thank you. There is no replacement for hard work. Chef, there's a second question which comes to you, which is about like it's about employee retention strategies in hospitality. Uh, we technically want to ask you, after what duration should ideally one change a job in hospitality?
I think it's very critical. First is to understand what you're doing. I will very fact that now I was actually we were very fortunate enough to be the first batch under ILO, which was the International Labour Organization, wherein these new curriculum came into the hotel schools. Wherein uh, first year was 100% classroom session. The second year was divided into 24 weeks of industrial training, and 24 weeks was at college, and then the third year was the final year. So we were subjected to this for the first time ever in a hotel school, and our batch was the guinea pig batch. The first batch which was tried on 1990 batch which passed out. Rather, 87 to 90 batch was the first uh, batch who were subjected to this sort of a curriculum. So there were students in our batch who were very passionate about front office, joining front office. I want to become a front office manager. I want to become a chef. I want to become this. I want to become a hotel manager in future. But actually, when they uh, the main reason why this 24 weeks industrial training was put inside the curriculum for it was to actually make the student gauge his capabilities, potential, to actually understand where he is best at which facet he can excel, and then accordingly choose his department. So I think uh, your longevity or your tenure with an organization in a particular department actually is deep rooted to your passion. So I think it's very important at that stage to understand what you're passionate about. Is the jacket or the suit is impressing you or making you proud towards joining marketing and sales or the front of the house? Or you are, or it is real passion of meeting people. You're being so extrovert. You like meeting people. You're flamboyant. Your I would say uh, knowledge about the current affairs is outstanding, and you you feel very much at home from within to be in the front of the house. So that's one choice. Or if you're a hardcore. I myself, when I went for my campus interview, I wanted to join as hotel management operation training for food and beverage service. Now, probably the traits which was observed in me during my industrial training, uh, you know, actually, my interview session was probably 1.5 hours of counseling session, wherein the interview panel was counseling me to join the kitchens rather than join the food and beverage service. I remember Jagat Verma, who was that time, vice president, who was a vice president for Taj Group of Hotels, and who was also an executive chef of this hotel in Bombay. He told me categorically, Joy, if you're impressed about this long tie, I think you should wear the short tie first, which he meant the scarf. So he's saying, I have also worn the short tie in the past, and today I am wearing this long tie. So if you join the kitchens, you still have your doors open to actually move into service, but you cannot do a swap the other way around. So we thought so, and probably that's what seniors in the system are there for. That's what your gurus are there for. That's what your mentors are all about. So they gauge your potential. They gauge. Uh, I think something is amiss on the screen. Are we okay? So they are experienced enough to gauge your potential and guide you accordingly. So I think first 4 or 5 years, we should not do any haste of jumping jobs. That's the time when you actually understand and get a get a complete understanding at the grassroots level of the basics. But this is particularly for the kitchens. But I think for the front office or any other for any other ancillary department of the hotel, uh, I think 3 years is a fair time. But kitchens, I think 4 or 5 years, you need to actually understand the the nuances right, and then subsequently, I think present trend is people want to change job, but then when if I scan through a CV, a person who has changed job every 8 months, 10 months, and a year and a half, I think uh, puts a huge question in my mind as to the stability of the person. But a person with maybe 2 or 3 years or 4 years, 10 years in subsequent brands is a comfortable fact today to live with. And most you see multiple series coming on those lines.
Thanks a lot, Shiv. That has been a great insight. And like while you mentioned about Mr. J.M. Verma, like when I joined the hospitality, he was the first person who interviewed me and got me my job in Taj. Thank you for sharing it. Chef, we come to the next question after this. It is about entrepreneurship in hospitality, and we would ask you for tips to succeed despite of challenges.
No, I think that's a very valid question. Everybody entrepreneurship is uh, everybody wants to be his own boss. You love the flexibility of time. Uh, you love the freedom. You can. There is no hard and fast rule that you have to report office at a particular time. Uh, whatever the profits come all to you. There are you decide who's going to share your profits. So there are a lot of pros, and every aspect of life, every process of life is, if there are pros, there are cons too. Now, I would say, uh, as you grow, like as you go up the organization ladder, as you become a senior hospitality professional, um, our roles are to ensure that there is job completion. So, any person who is heading a hotel chain, or he is in any particular in a senior role in a hospitality company, has has I would say the same amount of ownership mindset that the owner of the chain is all about. So it's like though you're working for someone, at the same time you believe that the process belongs to you. So when there is wastage in the today, I feel that wastage is happening at my home. So I always take this example of saying, whenever I used to dig up the garbage bins in the hotel kitchens and say that, and call the person and reprimand him and say, is this what you do at home? So if not that, so why are you doing it in the hotel? Because we have to treat the business as a home.
Absolutely right.
I would also like to take you to, last year when I went for to the table, there's an international forum wherein, suppliers across the world with chefs and purchase managers across different multiple chains, they come together. So there was a seminar in the midst of it wherein um, uh, they were trying to. The seminar was actually the topic of the seminar was F&B trends and the future of food and beverage. So in that thing, a very critical thing came up. That the speaker said, and he was, I think, from the Restaurant Federation of Singapore. So he was the president. He said, as of today, in Singapore, 9 restaurants shut every day and 11 open. So definitely, as students, I can you can see many restaurants in your lifetime. You'll see them propping up in different corners of the city, and then after 2-3 years, they will shut. Now, being in entrepreneurship, you have to be mindful of this. That as of today, your rental, the charges, and the huge rental you pay in a metro like Mumbai compared to a smaller city. I think to make two ends meet, it's more difficult as an entrepreneur in a large city like this compared to a smaller city. However, there is hard work in both the cases, and if you are looking at freedom and sharing your own profits your own way, I think there is uh, no harm in looking into different entrepreneurship options, but you should be prepared to actually take on the losses if they come. Because today, what's happening is by the time your restaurant is actually established and started just reaping the benefits, it's time for you to change. Otherwise, you will not live in the market. So, change is constant, it has become a constant factor of late.
Absolutely true, Chef. Absolutely true. Uh, Chef, like between 2019 and 2020, like we have suddenly come across two different eras. One is which is before Corona, and one is which is after Corona. Okay, the next question which comes to you is, like what are the changes that are expected in the kitchen design uh, post-Corona or post-COVID?
I think we are all making case papers and after on this topic at the moment. But it's
Very
very
true.
important to understand that as a hotel professional, uh, following hygiene guidelines and principles of hygiene in sync with ISO, be it ISO 22000, 2009, 2005, or 2018, or HACCP guidelines. Unfortunately, F&B business, food and beverage business, apart from a handful of five-star deluxe hotels, is is not given that serious tone, because when you want to really maintain hygiene in a hotel, you have to spend a lot of money too. So,
Very true.
lot of hotel owners ignore this fact. At the end of the day, you will compare that, street side restaurants also people are not falling, eating and not falling ill. So why should I spend X or Y amount of money invest in health and hygiene? But it's very important to understand that, that's a moral responsibility to your customers, that you can do, because end of the day, uh, if someone is coming to your doorstep for a square meal, paying his hard-earned money, the least that we can give him is 100%, and taste consistency is secondary, but primary is 100% safe and healthy food to eat. So, I'm in the middle of multiple discussions, and I can only hear and learn and see different things. that lot of things which are absolutely a, a mandatory process are now being included into post-COVID system, because the hotels were not even practicing them earlier. So apart, definitely for post-COVID, I think we have to. This is not going to last forever. Um, However, your HACCP and ISO 22000 guidelines take care of your 90, I would say 80 to 85% of the risk factors which COVID can pass on to. The remaining 10-15% we need to target is, uh, how do we sanitize the vehicles that come into a premises, the supplier which is carrying the roots, vegetables, um, religiously cleaning the, uh, you know, every chef, I would say the students who want to join the kitchen, they know that, hotels, or they must have seen during the industrial training that, hotels wash vegetables in 50 ppm of clothing. So that's a disinfectant. So we don't change that. That still stays. So, but then you very well know that there are a lot of establishments who don't even bother to do that. And I have seen kitchens and outdoor catering venues where the vegetables are not even washed before they are being cooked. So you may debate and argue that, if that is the case, um, why are the guests not falling ill? Because that's only happening because, when you cook it at a high temperature, it's 90 plus, all the germs and all the bacteria, they are getting killed. That's the only reason why people are not falling ill. You go to turf club, any wedding, outdoor wedding that is happening, nothing. It's the plates are even comes from the godown. They are just wiped and put on the buffet counter. So that's a fact. So, but definitely we have to ensure that each and every produce that is coming in, whether you have to divide them into different categories. There's some which can take liquid disinfectants. Some which cannot take liquid disinfectants would have to go through a UV tunnel for at least 5 to 8 seconds. And things like Parmesan cheese, which cannot be washed with soap or cannot be used any liquid disinfectant, has to go through UV tunnels. And similar to raw chicken, seafood, leg of lamb, they need to go through the UV tunnel, because if you actually subject them to Pyrex 2 or any other disinfectant, due to the absorbing nature of the meat, that actually get uh, absorbed by the
by the
meat or the
meat.
seafood that's being subjected to it. So, and another way of doing it, probably we'll have to, there are certain things which we cannot pass through UV or cannot do a moist disinfecting method. We'll probably have to be quarantined for 48 hours before, as per FSSAI norms, before they are opened up, the packets are discarded and they are used. But definitely, I think we have to ensure that each and every team member who's either part of the brigade is screened for COVID. We maintain. I think if the person is 100% safe and sound, I don't think it's going to be possible maintaining distancing norms while working in a kitchen, because you know I believe the birds are all of the same flock. I don't think they can harm each other and spread any infection if there is nobody is infected in the team or the group. But definitely wearing of masks, wearing of gloves. Gloves is also, cold kitchen. Always gloves are being used from day one in a hotel. So these are norms which we need to continue still. But definitely, we have to, apart from safeguarding uh, the workplace, I think we'll have to treat each and every guest as a potential hazard and work out in such a way that, the infection is not spread within. So I was talking to, before we started this session, I was talking to the core team separately, and I was saying that, most hotels, that's the reason they are planning to start with probably 20-30% of occupancy, so that, they can actually maintain the distancing norms at the breakfast venue of the hotel. So that's the way we
Absolutely
are
right.
looking at it, and hopefully, I think very soon we should be able to get this process running and come out successful out of this.
Thank you, Chef. That has been a great insight. We come to our next question, Chef. With your 3 decades of experience, you've seen different eras in the kitchen, different trends in terms of the food. But the next question comes to you is about what are the additional attributes that would be required by a chef of the future?
Yeah, I think in our trade, I think constantly improvising our repertoire. I do, even today, when I do menus, I do concepts, I do restaurant concepts, thematic concepts for food, or even when I'm creating dishes. Uh, there's a lot of reference that I do. I only urge the students that there is you're lucky at the moment because everything is on the fingertips. You want to do a evening of German cuisine. You just type on the thing that German recipes, and you get a multiple things, hordes of things to choose from. So the social media and the internet has been a boon and blessing in disguise. I think use them effectively. Use them not only for just uploading your pictures on Facebook or doing different things, but use them constructively, and actually in seeing what the world is doing, what's happening across the world, what are the new dishes which are coming, and then I am not saying that you should copy. You should start thinking over them and try to improvise the process and come out with something so different. It could be the inspiration could be that dish, but then I think use your knowledge, use your repertoire, use your know-how to actually work on the dish and come out something different, which could be your own signature. So then you get a different pride to it because end of the day, you know, what you are capable of, you are your best judge. If I'm in the kitchen, people may think that Chef Joy can make. You know, there are so many new entrants who would say that who could be struggling with a dish, and maybe thinking that this man who's there, he can do it in a split second. But it's only me who knows that whether I can make a hollandaise right or wrong. So that confidence should come from within. That I am confident of doing this, and that should be your um, that should be your thumb rule and dharma. So when I went in for industrial training, so the format is still the same. You're subjected to one fine dining kitchen, on a fine dining restaurant, an all-day dining kitchen, and all-day dining restaurant. So obviously, fine dining kitchen restaurant, you are not allowed to actually do the critical cooking. But in an all-day dining set, you are allowed to do certain parts of things. So my intention at that point of time is I am here in this kitchen. I should try and replace this guy who is working in this section. So, it's not that I replaced him, but then, if you have that thing in your mind and move ahead, you will learn more number of things and you will probably burn your fingers more, but you will learn a lot of things which are not told to you. So I think you should have that zeal within you when you actually enter a kitchen rather than wait for the chef to tell you something and then do it. You should actually proactively uh, empty out things and put your hands in and dirty your hands in to learn different things. So then only you actually give the confidence to the person in front of you to actually give you additional job. So I
That's
think your learning has to be constant. It has to be, there is no into it. Even today I do reference. I do a lot of literature searching and soul searching before I submit my work.
Thank you, Chef. Thank you. That's been fabulous. I mean, that's been inspiring for most of our students who want to, build up their career in culinary. Want to start the culinary journey in terms of the career. That's great, Chef. Chef, with this, in this pandemic era, where actually people have stopped I mean, the restaurants have stopped operating, or restaurants are operating, like in terms of food deliveries and all. But once all this lockdown relaxes, and the restaurants gradually open up, how do you think, like the organizations or the hotels will convince their guests that the food is very, very safe to eat? We request your insights on this.
I think it's a valid question. It will take a while, but definitely there is going to be a start and a beginning. So the more guarantee you give to the person, and more visual appeal that you give to the person, that what additional measures that you're taking to actually ensure the safety of your guests. I think that's the key. So whilst there are a lot of processes that would be followed or has to be followed to ensure that this is well taken care of. So we also have to actually beat the drum about it. So the marketing team has to very proactively reach out in the market and tell the guests what are different things being done to ensure guest safety. Now, I just give you a small example. You know, Oberoi hotels have come out uh, I think, with the steps they have taken to ensure guest safety. So,
Correct.
and they have actually outlined everything, and they have written, whilst it's not expected of you to go into each and every detail of process to the T what we have done back of the house and the front of the house. However, if you so wish to actually know that what's going on behind the scenes, please click here. And they have given the link. So moment you take that, open that link, it breaks up each and every process. What the bellboy is supposed to do, what the laundry, uh, uh, the the valet is supposed to do, what the stewards are supposed to do, what the chefs are supposed to do. So it's a very exhaustive document. So to be very frank, you know, you moment to open that, I will not go through each and every. I'll make a. I, I've made my impression already. So they have reached it there. I know, I'm sure. Now, even for today, uh, when you're ordering food on home delivery, there are different ways. Different companies are packaging the food and sending it out. Touch free, uh, packing. They're putting the body temperature of the server, the body temperature of the person who has done it, the body temperature of the person who has packed the food. Um, but then, if you compare, I was actually speaking to Anjan yesterday. Anjan is day for last week, in fact. Anjan is the head of, he owns specialty restaurants,
Mainland China.
mainline channel. I said,
Yeah.
Anjan, everything is being done very well, but your packets in which the food is coming is not sealed. So when I actually, it came to me, I am a friend, I'm calling you. When it came to me, I did not get that assurance, that someone could have actually taken out the packet, or someone could have actually even touched my food boxes. Irrespective, being a chef, I ensure it that the food is empty, touch-free wise, into a different container, and then I ensure it is heated above 70 degrees for at least 15 seconds. So I am doing that thing at home because I know exactly how to calculate and control it. But then the food product should be full. So I think it's very important for the I think the marketing and sales team to actually beat the drum in the social media and the public market of what the establishment is doing differently to to give them an idea and assurance of the product, apart from actually living by it and believing in what you're doing.
Very rightly put up, Chef. As all of us know, like we are seeing, like every branded company in the world uh, is actually introducing their own hygiene and safety program. Like, and everybody is. I mean, you would see, you go onto any hotel website. The first thing today you see is what are the new changes, or what is the new normal, and how are the hotels adapting to it. I mean, most of the hotel companies have put up an extensive programs in terms of hygiene and safety for to welcome the customers back again. Thank you, chef. Thank you. Chef, now the next question which comes to you is about the menus. Will the menus from now on focus on serving foods which can be procured locally?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think with COVID on our head, the menus are going to be concise. The menus are going to be shorter because there are still the supply chain, the international supply chain is still not strong enough to withhold uh, this pandemic at the moment. Uh, Obviously, that would give a leverage to the local produce and the local ingredients being used. It's not that today most of the restaurants are actually encouraging local cuisine, domestic cuisine, and local produce. There are uh, there are farms in Hyderabad, there are farms in Pune, Nasik, Solapur, and even Himachal who come up with uh, wonder foods. There are different types of millets to amaranth seeds to almond flour, so multiple different things, which actually has uh, has become very common and becoming popular day by day. So I think our banqueting menus, if first of all the hotel is capable of taking any banqueting, which most of the hotels are yet contemplating whether to open the doors to banqueting because to keep social distancing in mind, if their ex banquet room, which is 15,000 square foot, uh, takes maybe 400 guests, 300 guests. Today, the same room would probably take half the numbers because you have to,
True.
and keeping in mind that probably you have to tell the host that you should invite your guests in in different batches so that there is not overcrowding in the venue. So ideally, the elderly people should come between 6 and 7. Then the next batch comes between 7 to 8, and then 8 to 9, and subsequently. So hotels are actually working on those formats to actually stagger the guest arrival into banqueting venues which have been committed. But the numbers are also going down because you have to maintain a social distancing. So buffets are going to be no-no because as it is all-day dining, hotels have stopped their buffets because they are prone to getting infected with the virus because there is open food end of the day. So I think live cooking formats with food being prepared at each and every counter and serving it to the guests, handed over to the guests while maintaining safe distancing, I think is going to be the banqueting format. So obviously, um, there I think there would not be that much luxury of space to give 20, 30 dishes that we offer on a buffet. So it has to be a limited, it has to be a shorter menu, but giving more of fresh food and unlimited fresh food. So that's the banqueting trend if you go to see. But in restaurants,
Absolutely.
I think restaurants would solely, I think, work on the availability of the ingredients. So I think sans the imported availability, which I think it will open up gradually if you go to see.
Correct.
But if there is a fine dining Italian restaurant in a complex or a fine dining Pan Asian restaurant where ingredients need to be sourced from that particular source of origin or country to get the authenticity in the dish, I think it's that's advisable to keep that restaurant shut in case you don't get the right ingredients. So there is no point in actually altering recipes and giving a product which is not resembling the cuisine of the country.
True. True. Chef. That's fabulous, chef. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, chef, we come to some direct set of questions. Uh, I'm just going to prompt a few. Chef, with around 5 years of your journey at the Taj and about 25 years at the Oberoi's, in one of the finest hotel complex in Bombay, what has prompted you to pursue your career with Reliance Industries?
I think handling the South Bombay hotels. I think was close to 880 rooms, with one of the most busiest banqueting venues. And uh, in days we have actually cooked 3,500 to 4,500 meals plus, on a particular day. So I think the next challenge would have been to scale that to a different higher level. But I think the scale has now reached to 22 to 24,000 now at
Wow.
JWC, which is estimated. I think uh, that's our meal capacity, serving capacity. If you go to see between, but before I tell about the meal capacity, I also want to let the students know. Are we discussing this after this, Vinayak, about
No,
wherein
no,
I can
chef,
give them the
chef, it's
features of
no,
JWC?
chef, it's all open. You can
Yeah.
speak now about, like, I mean, everybody is very keen to know, like, how's the Geo World Center shipping into, and what opportunity it provides.
So, this Geo World Center, I think it's, when we were discussing, when we did the hem of, trying to iron out the, the questions for, or rather, what are we going to discuss in this forum? So it came up, why from a hotel chef, how have you moved on to this exhibition convention system? So my submission to this is, uh, I have spent close to 29 years in luxury fine dining hotels, but this is no less than that. So there is this complex. Actually, it is built on. It's a greenfield project. Greenfield project means that actually you're starting from a
Scratch.
from scratch. From the green grass actually. So it's 20 acres, approximately 20 acres of 19.8 acres of greenfield land, which was converted into this project, which has one of the largest luxury. I'm taking mainly luxury. So there are convention exhibition centers larger than this, but luxury, which is giving you very high-end luxurious feel and product as well as the services. It is it's the largest in Southeast Asia to have um, the convention, the exhibition center, over 2 levels. It has, I think, the largest banqueting. We can take. Uh, the largest banqueting hall can take 5,000 to 6,000 guests in one go. Pillarless also. Exhibitions can take 20,000 people in one go.
Wow.
Similar to the conventions. So then we have 25 meeting rooms from 8-seater, the smallest, to 20 or 250-seater, the largest meeting room. So we have luxury banqueting, exhibition, convention. Then we have 3 theaters. Now these theaters are only for performing arts. This is not your movie theaters. However, you can do premieres, movie premieres. These are theaters where on the lines of Kodak in LA or the Greek Opera House. And rightfully said, they have been made by the same company, the TPC, Theatre Project Consultants, who have actually made the Kodak in Los Angeles, Kodak Theatre in Los Angeles, where actually Oscars happen. So we have one large theatre which is 2,000 seater. We have 2 smaller formats for regional theatre ends, or could be TED talks, or could be small meetings, conferences. So those are 250 seater and 125 seater each. We have an art house with an arts cafe. We have a retail 84 block retail with bridge luxury to Uber luxury brands only on the lines of Louis Vuitton, Moët Hennessy, to name the least, and equitable brands, local brands of similar repute in India. So this retail also has a 25 restaurant food court,
Wow.
5 Inox screens. That's only movie, but with virtual audio and virtual surround sound. So Inox is also graduated in the movie space in our project, if you could see. Then we have 6,000 office block where actually 6,000 people can sit, over 14 floors. We have a state-of-the-art private members clubhouse, which can take up to 650 guests. with the parking on the fourth and the fifth level. We have we have the Dhirubhai Ambani Square, which is a musical fountain uh, made by the same people who have done the Bellagio fountain, and but they've advanced it. They have advanced it with fire also. Apart from music, light, water, and color. And obviously, we have another two sets on the east side and the west side, uh, in formats of 3 bedroom, 4 bedrooms, and 5 bedroom service apartments. So this is the more of the complex that we are looking at. LEED Platinum, uh, the first in its kind in India, a LEED Platinum project of this large nature, with we are 100% disposable of our own garbage, renewable energy to a certain level, water harvesting, you name it, we are all there, as we have thought it actually 10 years in advance, with a state of the art, high end, you know, kitchen, which which has got multiple sections and areas. So we have a Japanese kitchen, the Asian kitchen, the Chinese kitchen, the Indian kitchen, the European kitchen, uh, your garde-manger, your butchery, your fishmongery, your bakery pastry. So you have all the kitchens in all different formats to cater to this complex. So we'll be doing catering at the theatre, we'll be doing at the banqueting, we'll have small events, we'll do catering at the conventions and the exhibitions, we'll do catering at the meeting rooms. In future, we could be doing catering at the service residences also, like room service was. So it is like any other hotel. Uh, we have a dedicated front office department. We have a robust housekeeping department. We have a very, I think, 160, 170 odd culinary team with probably 8 to 10 expats in them for different specialization of different cuisines, and supported by engineering and security teams. So it is uh, nothing less in any way than a hotel, but the largest hotel that you have seen or done your industrial training, it is multiplied by 10 times the volume in one particular package. So we will, I think next year we'll definitely come to visit you on the campus, for for the different job positions that we'll keep open for this to start off this wonderful project that we are building up.
Thank you, Chef. Thank you, Chef, for the wonderful explanation about this whole new complex which is coming up. I'm sure it's an aspiration to a lot. It's an aspiration to our students, and I think they'll be all desirous to be a part of your fabulous team. Thank you very much. Chef, the
Thank
next
you.
question comes to you is, like with all this experience, with so much of exposure with different Michelin star chefs, participation in international food festivals, opening up restaurants across your journey from, like from the Zodiac Grill to where you have reached today. This question comes to you as, why hasn't Chef Joy ventured into entrepreneurship?
Because we actually briefly touched on entrepreneurship sometime back, the as far
Correct.
as the risks are yours, um, but to be very frank, that's come to my mind at times. Uh, but what has actually not allowed me to pursue that, because I still, I would say, I still, I would say, how do you coin it? Uh, I think I still experience the same benefits of being an entrepreneur. So
Absolutely.
where whatever we do, daily lives, we work with a very ownership mindset. We have the
Very true.
freedom, we have the freedom of work, freedom of speech. There is no, and as I mentioned earlier, as you grow in this industry, you have freedom of time, you have freedom to do what you want. But probably at sans the minus the risk of getting the losses, but it also becomes our responsibility to ensure that what we work to is a job which is well completed and reaps enough profits. So I think apart from that could be probably later, in later stage in life when probably I'm off work, do something smaller and just keep ourselves busy. But I think I cherish my job very well, and the mind thought the thought process with which we go to work every day is no less than an owner of the process and the owner of the business.
Absolutely correct. Very well said, Chef. Very, very well said. Chef, in today's like world of social media, in terms of Facebook, Instagram, and everything else, do you get inspired from social media sites such as Instagram, Twitter, Facebook to get new ideas? We would just like you to brief us very shortly about it.
No, I think they are wonderful platforms, which keep they're instantaneous. You could be doing one small experiment in one corner of Mumbai in a small restaurant, and the next moment, your friend in Australia, in Melbourne, Sydney, could come to know of it. So that way the world is connected very, very fast, and it's a very small world. Then, if you go to see it, and thanks to the social media. But there are a lot of good things which happen with the social media, which I think we should take the best extract out of it. At the same time, I feel very, very happy to see my boys, my chefs, who are doing different things on and posting them on the social media. And I really take pride in them, what they have done today. And because I I have held their hands in the past, and really take the pride. So it is like as if it's me only who's doing this dish. So I think
That's
that gives me a different kick altogether, and gives it a lot of satisfaction and professional pride.
true, true, Chef. True. Chef, my next question, which comes to you, is: do you prefer looking for recipes in books or internet, or you develop your own recipes?
No, I think it's a mix of everything. Uh, Whatever you do, the best of the restaurants across the world, whether it be Dalian Hum, or it could be any restaurant, or it could be Fat Duck, or Heston Blumenthal, or any restaurant that you see, if you go
Authenticity
to
involved.
see, if you go to see, there is no compromise on the basic cooking methods. I have worked close to uh, with more than 15 to 20 Michelin star chefs. And
Absolutely.
they're one-star Michelin also. It's not only three-star, one-star Michelin also. So the only thing which keeps their product consistent is adherence to the process, to the tea. So there is no compromise on the basic culinary processes. So what we learn in the beginning of our career, I would be, I'm shocked at times today when I interview executive chefs for position of executive sous chefs, or executive chefs of large hotels for chef de cuisine positions for JWC, our project. Uh, I'm really sorry to say that as simple basics as how to make the recipe of making a chicken stock is absolutely warped. So I think uh, uh, and forget I don't even tread into the yield calculation of yield percentage or yields or whatever it is. But you look at the person's the number of dishes that he has made, his Instagram post, his Facebook post. You would think him to be the would be like a rebirth of Escoffier. But the basic, the, and you need chefs to have their basics right, because you are actually subjecting a large team to them to actually look forward and look up to.
Very, very true,
So,
Chef.
whatever you do, I think I have close to 600, 620 books, culinary books, which I invested, because going through a net for a recipe or going through a book is a totally different charm altogether. I have actually made my listing of books which we would buy for our library, because I would love to have our chefs, go to the library, spend time with the books, and go do reference and actually work out something new and different out of it. So it's a mix of everything. So it's whatever the dishes that you create is could be inspired for someone or inspired from something, one idea, keeping in mind the basic cooking principles, and then you work towards it for the final finish. There are so many dishes which actually I have is in my repertoire, which the inspiration has come from my guests. During a menu discussion meeting, there are so many. During a casual dialogue with guests, we get so many ideas. They are sometimes more traveled than us because today, average Indian is more traveled overseas than he is traveled within the country. If you go to see.
Very true. Very, very true.
So there is no end to this learning process. So it's always constant for us, and it has to keep on ticking throughout our lives.
Thank you, Chef. Thank you very much. Chef, now the next question, is on behalf of people who inspire or who aspire to work with you. And this goes to our students, this goes to our industry people as well. The question is, whenever you recruit or whenever you look for a person to be employed, what are the qualities or what are the attributes do you look at, when you hire a team of chefs?
So to be very frank, I just want to give out my secret. I actually, start watching the candidate or the student right from the time he walks into the room. So from his stride, most of the time, 90% of the time, I can make out whether he is bent for the kitchen or not bent for the kitchen. So the rest of the 10% job, I actually start questioning and grilling him. If
Gully boy.
there is that 10% thing where I've gone wrong, wherein I've misjudged the things, but mostly it is my estimation or guess has been right. But the only thing that we look in a person is his willingness to learn, his positivity, and his dedication and passion towards the trade. So these are the only three things. So if he displays, hardcore passion towards the trade and is willing to learn and try out different things and is positive, carries a positive attitude, I think we can always mold him.
That's great, Chef. That's great. It's this whole conversation has been so very inspiring. I mean, we've learned so many things. I'm sure our students, our industry fraternity has got a lot of things to learn from today's conversation. I really, really thank you so very much to be a part of this. Now, I'll await questions from the audience, if any. I would request Aniket sir to direct the questions to us.
Actually, I think, thank you very much, Vinayak. It was a really great session with you and obviously Chef Joy. I really enjoyed it. I have one question. Obviously, I think most of the questions which have been picked up have been answered by Chef Joy. To set the context, sir, I have a question for you. I'll just set the context. I just watched your video of Saucy Treats with Govind Etiraj, wherein you started your kitchen journey when you were 11 with your mommy in the kitchen, actually, because you lost your father at the age of 11. And that is how mommy had to start working. And you had to take charge of the kitchen to feed your siblings and take care of her mother as well as grandmother. So, as we always know that the inspiration in our life is basically, in the chef's life, is the homemaker, that is our mother. So, I wanted you to tell us that why is it that we don't see it in the commercial kitchens? Why is the lady not leading? You had mentioned that you were working in Zodiac Grill under.
No, I'll tell you that.
Yes.
No,
so please, sir, elaborate.
Is that at the age of 11, I was there's really I could, apart from a few chutneys and dal or maybe boiling of the rice, I was not that instrumental in doing different. Not that I've done any complex recipes. I remember making samosa once. So, but then I used to always hasten the cooking process. So when she used to come before coming from office, I used to start off with something so that that used to save her some time to actually finish, and because after that we used to have lunch together. So keeping that in mind, obviously, my first chef has been a lady chef. When I joined obviously when I joined the Taj Group of Hotel as a hotel operation management trainee. Fortunately, that was that time. In those days, I think there were less number of colleges. There were hotels. There were fair number of hotels. So obviously, our opening, we used to start our career as hotel operations trainees, and then graduate to assistant chefs. Now, as of today, students are joining as commies, but then there is the work does not change. It's the same work. So don't be don't feel yourself let down by doing that, because end of the day we used to also work like an apprentice or a commie at that point of time. For 2 years before we actually became an assistant chef. So it comes to the same. So if you are hardworking, you would still become a demi chef de party after 2 years. So uh, so my first after when I joined, when I finished that one first year of my training, then we were put into a proper allotted a particular kitchen, and I was the first trainee to be inside the Zodiac Grill. And my first chef under whom I worked was a lady chef, Chef Nilofer Medora, and she was assisted by her deputy was Janet Fernandez. So there were two actually power puff girls who were actually heading the kitchen, and we were a group of I think 8-10 men under them working. So I think she was very methodical in her approach. She was very strict. At the same time, uh, an excellent trainer, an excellent and patient trainer. So I think girls have a lot of patience, and I ensure that that my team has a vibrant mix of girls as well as boys. Uh, at my last, I think during my tenure in Oberoi Hotels, I experienced a very wonderful mix of 35% of my kitchen team was seniors and were seniors and experienced in the trade. So that they were actually the pillars of different kitchens and all. But in the rest of the team was young, and we had a very very generous mix of young girls as well as young boys. So who actually formed the vibrant brigade. So definitely, but from main kitchens to banqueting kitchens, I have seen girls actually contributing better than men, better than boys. So they are all there is absolute 100% parity in our approach. In in we just actually want the right attitude and the right talent to be with us, rather than have differentiators that we don't want to take boys or we don't want to take girls. So I think if you have the right attitude, the desire to learn, I think we are ready to move.
Thank you,
And that's
Chef.
the way I think everybody should look at it.
Now, just looking forward that Reliance Geo World Center comes to campuses for placements very soon. That is what we pray, and looking forward to meet you at the campus placements.
Definitely, definitely. Pleasure.
Thank you, Chef. It's over to Vinayak. There are no questions from the forum now. Almost all the questions have been answered, Vinayak.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Chef. This whole session has been inspiring. Like I'm sure there are a lot of notes students, industry fraternity will carry from this. Thank you very much, Aniket sir. Thank you very much, Chef Joy. Thank you to Chef Wilson for like having us here. And I hand it over to Aniket sir or Mr. Wilson to take it forward.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, students, for being with us and bearing with me for this. I think we are nearly 1 hour 15 minutes. 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Wilson sir, can you please give the vote of thanks, please? Thank you, Chef Joy. Really
Thank you,
enjoyed
thank
it.
you, thank you, thank you. Thank you first and foremost, Chef Joy Bhattacharya, Executive Chef, Geo World Center, Reliance Industries. Thank you, the moderator for today's event, Mr. Vinayak Matre, Hotel Manager, Marriott International. And thank you, Vijaya, for getting us a very famous Chef Joy. I suppose we are very honored to have you on board, sir. And also,
Thank you.
and alumnus, Mr. Vinayak Matre, thank you for agreeing to moderate this particular, because we could not have thought anyone better than you to come over and moderate this show. Thank you,
Thank you.
Vinayak. Thank you. Thank you, Vinayak. And thank you, my entire team who is behind working continuously for making the show a grand success. Let me tell you, this is hospitality way forward. We were having this is a three, series 3 will be coming up with 4 and 5 very soon. Chef, in the past we were honored to host Vincent Ramos, the director from IHCL Goa.
Wonderful.
Then we had Mr. Rohit Pandya, the series 2, along with Nishant Agarwal. And I suppose very nice to have you. I don't think I could have better words. I think we're very privileged to have you, sir. Out of the whole sessions, I suppose this was a session which we had more than, I suppose, 200 footfalls. I could see people coming in and going out. So we had a wonderful session and a lot of things to learn for the young beginners. Well, I would just like to quote some few quotes from the famous chef from Thomas Keller. It says that if you want to become a great chef, you have to work with great chefs. And that's exactly what I did. So I think today's session was very important for those people who want to enter into career into culinary. I think even if they couldn't be working, they could hear you. That is more than enough.
No, it's always a pleasure.
And looking at you, I would like to quote one more quote of Gordon Ramsay. He says, I always say that I don't believe I am a chef. I try to be a storyteller. So I think we can have more sessions, sir, like this with you if you permit. But I don't think I should.
We'll work out something.
I should not be leaving you with this small. This I think we should have more sessions. We could hear more from you, and it will be a very encouraging for the young students who are looking forward to make career in hospitality.
And I only wish that we get over this pandemic, and
Yes.
I would love to do a one-on-one session in the college. I think that's a more enriching and more captivating if you go to
very much, sir. Very much.
Yeah.
Very much. Very humble once again. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef. Thank you, Chef. This is Vijay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chef. Bye-bye.
Thank you.